This was the week of the much-anticipated Senate confirmation hearing for Judge Neil Gorsuch to be an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court. These things are always great theater. Think of Robert Bork or Clarence Thomas. And this one was no different. And after watching, all I can say is, wow, after thinking about the performance of Judge Gorsuch. He was incredibly prepared, showing himself to be not only a brilliant lawyer and legal scholar and jurist, but also a man who was as authentic and real as could possibly be. Unpretentious, although obviously brilliant, but somebody who was comfortable in his own skin, able to laugh at himself and parry with the senators who came after him with some pretty tough questions from time to time. Incredibly well prepared. And a special shout out to somebody with a lot of Pennsylvania connections, most notably Penn State University and the finest law school in America, Villanova Law School, former Senator Kelly Ayotte from New Hampshire, who was the Sherpa for Judge Gorsuch and obviously had him ready to go on all cylinders. The Democrats were pretty frustrated. It was apparent from the beginning because they had clearly searched for anything that was untoward or slightly scandalous in Judge Gorsuch's background to try to embarrass him or actually keep him from getting on the court. They clearly had nothing. So they resorted to their ordinary playbook of saying, oh, he was too corporate. But when you looked at the cases that they had as evidence of that, most of them turned out to be unanimous opinions, hardly something that distinguished Judge Gorsuch. So they then resorted to trying to box him into hypothetical questions or questions about cases that might actually come before the court. Judge Gorsuch politely and continuously demurred, showing incredible judicial temperament, and did the right thing and what any judge that came before the Senate Judiciary Committee would have done. He actually schooled a couple of senators from time to time on the finer points of constitutional law, and he did it without being pedantic, the vocabulary word for this week. But one of the really interesting moments was when Al Franken, the senator from Minnesota, who was the definition of snarky in his questioning of Judge Gorsuch, challenged him on the date that a particular statute was passed, arguing about whether it was 1925 or 1924, and correcting Judge Gorsuch for being wrong from his memory, from what Al Franken's note said. But he then, Senator Franken, came back and asked for 30 seconds to correct the record in one of his rare gracious moments, saying that Judge Gorsuch's memory had been right and his notes had been wrong. The chairman of the committee, Chuck Grassley, said, that doesn't happen very often around here. So this is where it comes to. Judge Gorsuch is going to be confirmed. It is still difficult to get the 8 Democratic senators necessary to forestall the proposed or threatened filibuster by Chuck Schumer. But if they can't, the Senate Republicans have clearly said they're prepared to go with the so-called nuclear option, changing the rules to require only a majority vote. The fact is, Judge Gorsuch is going to be on the court. The real fight is the one yet to come, the one over the seat, presumably, of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but perhaps of one of the other justices. That's where the balance of power on the court is really going to be determined, and it's going to be a battle royale. The Democrats had better come up with a lot more than they had to go against Judge Gorsuch in that fight. As we have been taping this, we're told on Friday afternoon that Paul Ryan and the Republicans have pulled the so-called repeal and replacement of Obamacare bill. We'll have more to talk about that next week because this is all we can squeeze into the best 60-ish seconds of your week.